TLC, bringing you all natural love all the time. Okay, so for today's review, we're going to review Patsie Girl. So I got her Spritz Splash and her Butter Me Up whipped hair butter. Okay, and so they were just a little samples. You will see them soon. I reviewed them, and then I gave them to a friend of mine to review them as well. And of course, they stayed with her because she really likes them. So here's her review.
Hi, so I used Patsie Girl product, Spritz Splash, and the Butter Me Up whipped shea butter, and both products were really good. They're very natural, so I used it in my hair and it made it soft while still not too thick or too oily or too greasy. It was very natural. It just dissolved right into the hair, and I really like that about it. I braided into my hair and left it in overnight. I didn't find that it gave great curl definition, but again, with the softness and the puffy look, it still worked. So I would recommend it. Patsie Girl doesn't have too much of a scent. It basically smells just soft, like shea butter, but very, very soft. It won't stand out too much. And the spritz, it has a pH balance, which I really, really like. pH is always good for your health, for your hair, for your face, for your skin, so that's a plus. And again, this doesn't have a smell as well. It's just very light and almost like water on your hair. It's Patsie Girl. Yeah.
Like Maya was saying, it is a very nice kind of floral soft scent. So it's really good if you want to wear perfumes. I know a lot of people that come up to me, or I'll see them at a natural hair event, and they'll ask the vendors who have products, does this have a strong scent? Does this have a strong scent? Because there are a lot of people who still like to use their perfumes and their smell goods and things like that. Me, I only use my smell goods when I'm not just fresh out of the shower or freshly done my hair, because I'm be honest, with all the products that I use and then the natural body scents that I'm using now, I don't need perfume. And so for those of you guys who still want to wear your perfume, it's perfect because it doesn't overpower anything. Another thing that I did find while using Patsie Girl is that when you're trying to do a braid out or a twist out, allow it to set in. Maybe put it in for a day, because I only got the spritz and the butter. So maybe put it in and then leave it in for like a day, and then you get the best definition. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to expect great definition when the product doesn't say it's a defining product. So you really want to be careful when you do that. Sometimes you might have to test products out. Some products do work like that, even though they're not a defining product. But what you really want to do is, when you use those two products together, just leave it in maybe for an extra day. If you have a lighter texture hair, you should be fine. Usually lighter texture hair is like threes, or maybe, in other words, like a real wavy S curl shape pattern, or a very loose spiral curl. Like, you guys are okay. You don't need to leave it in for a day, because your hair naturally takes shape when you wet it anyway, so you won't need to leave it in that long. But for thicker hair textures like mine's and Maya's, you would want to leave it in for a little longer. But other than that, it was really good. And even if you don't leave it in for longer a day, it gives you this defined kind of big curl fro almost. It's like a wavy defined fro. I don't know how else to explain it, except for when you guys have seen me when I had my curly froze, and all I did was I told you that I took out a twist out and I really separated it. It's kind of like that, but you don't have to separate it. It's just like big curls, and it's really cute. So it just depends on what you like. If you like more definition, that's fine. If you like bigger hair like me, that's fine. But it comes out really nice, and the scent is very pleasant. So check out Patsie Girl. She is a lovely person, and she does have more products. So if you like those, get them. But also check out what else she has to offer. She is a lovely person. It is also Black owned, and all of her information will be at the bottom. Make sure that when you're using Patsie Girl, the spritz spray, you want to really get your ends, because your ends is where the definition is really seen. If you have bigger roots, that's fine, your hair is bigger, but you really want to get your ends. So you want to make sure, especially if you have, thicker textures like Maya and I, that you really spray those ends. And then when you take the butter, just smooth it down, whatever section that you're doing. Say if you're doing a twist out or a braid out, or maybe you're doing flat twists or cornrows, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you smooth those ends all the way down, that every strand is covered. Maybe take a little bit on your fingertips, rub it in your root area, you know what I mean, so that all of your hair gets coverage and is sealing in with the moisture. Because there's sometimes when people put the butter on their hair, they'll just put it down, but then the roots will be very dry because you didn't take that extra time to really cover the whole hair. You know what I mean? And so after you get from the roots, really make sure you take care of those ends. Maybe not at that moment, because sometimes, especially if you have thick hair, it takes a minute for you to really twist or braid your hair. So by the time you get to the end, it could be a little dry. So if you do that, if you're twisting, just spray it a little bit again and then put a little more butter on it. Make sure it's nice and slick, and really curl that in around your finger, and you should be good to go. And so if your hair doesn't curl, maybe from heat damage, either take a curling rod, wrap it around, or a curler. Take the coil out, the little spongy part, take that out, wrap your hair around it, go to bed, or maybe do a bantu knot for extra coil. For me, I do have some days where my hair does not want to curl at the ends in certain parts of my hair, but it will do it if I put a little pressure to it. So what I'll do is I'll wrap it around my finger just a little bit, like maybe my pinky, or I'll just wrap it around in the air and I'll squeeze it together. And after I squeeze it together, I let it go, and it's like a little tiny Shirley Temple curl at the end to give me a little bit more definition because it was straight. So there's many different ways to manipulate your hair. There's no wrong way, but Patsie Girl is really good. So for you guys who have low porosity like mine, you may have to use more products, or maybe even use it when your hair is warm. Or what you might want to do is take the butter, warm it up in your hands really well, and make sure that your hair is still wet. It has to be wet, and then rub it in, because heat really opens up our cuticle layer to really get the product inside for low porosity. Okay, if you have high porosity, make sure you use that butter, because your hair is the hair that loses moisture day in and day out. And normal, you guys are fine. So, alright you guys, that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.